right into my second review of the day, which is going to be another knife review. I'm going to try and get these reviews out while I can, while I have the time. I have, a few hours right now to really knock out anything that I'm going to knock out this week. And actually, I won't have any time next week, I don't think. I'll be making some videos next week, hopefully, and some really cool things coming up. But I won't be able to produce them until to really edit them and put them and share them until probably the week after that. So I'm gonna do as much as I can today while I have the time. And coming up next is another knife review. I'm going to show you and share my thoughts on the Ka-Bar this time. A Ka-Bar TDI Law Enforcement knife. Okay. Now this is a knife that I've only had in comparison to the Marine Raider, which I've had a year and a half, and have done many dozens and dozens of hikes, and I mean that literally, dozens and dozens of hikes, because where I used to live not too long ago, just some months ago, I had hiking trails in my backyard. I mean, literally, I had hiking trails in my backyard, and I just went, we were going almost every day. We were going to go 3-4 times a week at one point, and the knife was, the Marine Raider was coming with me, and I've made, a bunch of fires with it. I've chopped a bunch of wood with it. I've split even more wood with it. I've split natural wood, store-bought wood, which is supposed to be natural wood as well. I've made fires in my backyard with it. I've made fires in the woods with it. Well, here's a knife in comparison that I've only had a few months. I received this as a gift for my birthday. It's not a knife that I would have bought for myself, but I do think it's really cool. I think the cool factor on it is very high. This is a knife that actually has a totally different purpose. The Marine Raider is kind of maybe a collector knife, maybe because of the price of it, definitely a camp knife, or definitely a survival knife. Well, this is they actually promote this as being a last resort self-defense weapon. Ka-Bar does. It's made by Ka-Bar from Olean, New York, pronounced Olean, not Olean. And this knife is not made in Olean, New York, though. This knife, they make it in Taiwan. It's made out of an Auxate stainless. Okay. Now the knife is one of those bent, the bent knives. I forget what they call these. This knife is actually designed for law enforcement, or for anybody who carries, to actually carry it on your weak side, inside the waistband, or on a duty belt. I have it right now with the clip set up to carry on the weak side, but outside my pants, for if, let's say, as a last resort, you can't get to your gun or whatever, you have your left hand is free, this knife will draw just like a gun. You pull it straight up just like a gun, and then you can get the bad guy, if he's going for your gun over here, you can hack at his hands, his fingers, whatever. I think in concept it's a really great idea. I have some major drawbacks to this knife, though, that I think make it go from a really cool looking knife, really kind of a cool knife to collect, but I think that it could have really been a really functional and a really good defensive option. And I think because of a few shortcomings, there's actually some better options out there, some other things that I would prefer to carry. Well, first things first, I think a knife like this, like as to where the Marine Raider, I didn't even want to review it until I had really beat the crap out of it, and I've done that, and it's held up. I mean, in winter, summer, it was wet, it was dry, it was cold, it was, warm, it was freezing, batoned on it, I've hammered with it. Well, I haven't done any of that with this knife, and I don't plan to, because with this being a defensive knife and with it being an Oz 8 knife, I think, yeah, you could probably split like a little wood with it, twigs, make like maybe match size wood with it. You could certainly prepare food with it at a camp, but I don't think it's not really a knife that's designed to be thumped on and beat on, and I'm not going to use it that way. I think it's mainly a defensive knife, and unless I'm going to go cut up some chicken wings or some carrot sticks or something, I mean, there's really no way to test that. I think it'll do just fine in that. Ka-Bar is a good knife company. They have a good reputation. Um, we know about the stainless steel, the Oz 8 stainless, what its limitations are. It's not the strongest, but it does all right. Um, so what are the major drawbacks? Okay, well, you're looking at it right here. Okay, this is actually supposed to be orange. I don't know how it shows up on camera. Right now it looks orange in real life, but sometimes in the right light, this knife will actually look pink. It actually has a pink handle, and to me, at least the way that my eyes interpret the light, it looks pink to me. Um, but it's actually orange. I wouldn't have picked the orange. The other color that it comes in is black. I would have picked the black, but it was a gift. And actually, after receiving the orange, I was glad that I did, because I wouldn't have picked it. I would have gone with the basic black. And I think it's kind of cool to not always have something black. I do carry this knife sometimes, but not that often. I probably carried it for about like the first month that I had it, and then I stopped carrying it. The reason is I don't really like carrying a whole lot of things on my belt. I think it's uncomfortable. I sit down in the car, just stabbing me in the side. I mean, the handle, and then any other crap that I have to carry on my belt. Basically, I have no choice. Yeah, and it's just not that comfortable. I'd rather have something in my pocket. And yeah, I realize that I'm going to be able to get to this much quicker than I would be able to get to anything in my pocket, especially if I don't have it clipped to my pocket, clipped on in the inside of my pocket, but clipped to the pocket with a pocket clip. Um, I realize that this is going to be much faster. All you have to do is get your shirt out of the way. You can draw it like a gun. I know, but if I was going somewhere that I thought was maybe like a high probability of being attacked or robbed or something like that, maybe I would choose this for that reason, for the quick access. But just for everyday use, it's just not my first choice. And as I said, you're looking at the weakness right here. It's this handle, which is what I forget what the material that this handle is. It's man, it slips my mind. But anyway, it has a slippery surface to it, and I don't know if it's the material itself or if it's the texture that they put on there, but it's just really not that. Doesn't offer that much grip. To be honest, this powder coat surface that they put on the blade has more grip on it. No kidding, no exaggeration. This blade has more grip than this does, and I don't think that's a good thing, because if you were going to try to split wood or something with this, that really grippy surface that this has on here would actually, create more friction and give you a harder time. I want my grip here, not here. I do like this powder coat finish on here, but I think that for any kind of, camping tasks, I think that's gonna, not be preferable, I guess I'll say, for lack of a better way to say it. I would have preferred this to have maybe like a rubbery coating, like one of my favorite defensive knives, the Gerber Guardian has a rubber coating, and I really prefer that, and I really love the Gerber Guardian. Um, but yeah, that's about it. It has a little bit of what do you want to call that there? Ridges there. It has some ridging there, to really give you good grip, and it doesn't. I mean, the purpose would be to give you really good grip, and it's kind of slippery too, because again, that handle material just is kind of slippery. The the metal that's showing with that powder coating, you know, has good traction, but it's just not sticking out enough. The handle is just too slick for me. The one good thing about it is the handle is very ergonomic. When you get it in your hand, and you get it, you know, in your hand like this, I don't think this knife is going anywhere. I think it is rock solid. You couldn't pull this knife out of my hand no matter what, especially if I was, you know, how are you going to grab it? You're going to grab the blade and I'm thrashing around, and almost the whole handle is just, actually, basically the whole handle is over this piece right here, is swallowed up by my hand. And that's excellent. My concern is getting it into my hand to that point, you know, grabbing the handle, drawing it, you know, if I can't for some reason get my hands all the way around it, you know, I can see it slipping out, and that is, you know, for me, a problem. You know, I don't know. Maybe you don't think that's a major drawback. Maybe you'll think you'll always be able to get your hands around there like that, and maybe you will. I don't know. I still would consider this, but that's just something to be aware of. It just maybe wouldn't be my first choice. Maybe it would depend on the situation. The other major drawback of that knife is the sheath. And actually, the plastic sheath that it comes with, I think is really cool. It's excellent. It comes with different ways to mount it. It's really neat. And the design of it, I think, is really good. The design of the clip is, you know, basically perfect. I'm gonna say it's really, really, really good. So, you know, wait a minute. So, you know, you're probably asking yourself, well, you just said that everything on the sheath was really good. You know, where's the drawback? And actually, before I get to that, let me show you that you know, locks up really good. It has good retention. It's not that hard to pull out, which is good. They give you a spot right here with a little bit of traction to, let's see if I can show that right. There's a spot here with a little bit of traction to, you can put your thumb there and push it off. It's excellent. Excellent in design. The problem with it comes with the metal choice of the clip. Whatever the metal that they use for this clip is not a really springy metal, and when you pull it off of here, it stays off of there. You know, I'm trying to grab this where my fingers aren't in the way. See how that has a gap there, and that is off of that. You know, the clip is off of the rest of the sheath body. You know, that's not good. I mean, you know, I have a thick belt because I have a belt that's made for carrying things. You know, it's made for having your gear sitting on it, so it's a thicker belt, it's a heavier duty belt. But it's not so heavy that this should have bent out and stayed out. I have other things, other clips that go on my belt that do not do this. And I hate this. I mean, this basically makes a really great clip design useless. And you know, this should be like so springy that that it's hard to pull off of here, and when I do pull it off here, it just snaps right back. And it's not like that at all. It just, you know, this is just, nothing happened to it. It didn't get pulled off in some kind of funny way. This is just from everyday use for, you know, within a month that it happened. And actually it happened, you know, pretty soon after I put it on my belt. The one saving grace for this clip is that little V-shaped hook that's in there. And that little V-shaped hook, you know, that's stamped out of here and then pushed in to shape like a V, catches the belt and will not let this be pulled off without really pulling this out. You know, like almost pushing it down, then pulling it out, and then pulling it up. So it actually still works. But if I had a skinnier belt, if I was going to try this with one of my normal belts, it wouldn't work anymore because, you know, it's gonna fall out between that gap there, and it's just gonna be useless. But it still works on my big belt. That's the one saving grace. If I didn't have that thick belt like that, though, there's no way this would work anymore. That clip basically rendered it useless. I'd have to find a way. Personally, I'd probably try to get some string through these holes and use this as a neck knife. I think it would be my next option. And actually, I have seen this knife with different sheaths. And I'm not sure if they sell those sheaths separately, or if they're like attachment systems that actually where you just attach this one to them, because I know one of them is an ankle carrier, and I think they have a couple different ones. or I'm not sure if you have to buy the knife that comes with those ones. I really haven't looked into it. This does have a drainage hole on there on the bottom where if water gets in there it will drain out. I mean, the design is really excellent. The only drawback is the metal that they chose for the clip. It really is the only drawback. But other than that, if you could live with those two downfalls, it's a really cool knife. I think in design, it's excellent. It's excellent. Some of the materials used, maybe, or I guess the one design flaw would be that there's no texture on this handle. You know, maybe they could do something like the Gen 4 Glocks and put some bumps on there, and some sharp bumps, and and it'd be great. But so if you live with those drawbacks, I recommend it. Otherwise, I think that there's better options out there. Like I like, if you're not going to go for a heavy use, if it's simply something small like this for a defensive purpose, I really like the Gerber Guardian. I really do. And I'm not sure if that knife would hold up as well as this one, but if like I said, for simply just you're carrying it on you, you're not really going to do anything with it except for maybe open some packages, cut some strings, and self-defense. I think the Gerber Guardian is a much better choice. And then of course there's much more expensive options, or there's also a number of pocket knives you could carry that I think would be just as good or better than this. So take it for what you will. Really cool knife. I'm glad I have it in my collection, but don't expect to see it on me.